We've got some breaking news to send to us here because the FDA's independent advisory panel is making some significant news here. They have just voted unanimously that the drug Narcan is safe for use over the counter, right? Meaning you can get this basically overdose reversal drug without a prescription if the FDA makes the final green light decision by the end of March. If it happens, you could buy this just at the local pharmacy, wherever, and this is a huge, huge deal. This is a drug that is credited with saving thousands of lives. If it's easier to get a hold of, perhaps you could save even more lives considering the opioid epidemic in this country. Let's go to Dr. Natalie Azar now. And Dr. Natalie, help us understand. I think I've laid out some of why I think, why we see this as significant. Talk about how medical professionals see this as significant.
Yeah, one of the things I think that we're going to see, that the consequence of this, Hallie, is think about all the community centers who want to have this medication on hand, but it's really cumbersome to get it right now. All 50 states, Hallie, it's available without a prescription currently. All states have what's called a standing order, which means that the pharmacist can look at a set of criteria that would designate somebody as a candidate for this, but the person has to come up to the pharmacy, has to ask the pharmacist for it. It's behind the counter. Think kind of similar to like Advil cold and sinus. It's a little bit of a process to get it. And a lot of people, because of stigma and other reasons, may feel very, very uncomfortable doing this. This way, now you got the Advil, but it's on the counter, or it's on, in the, what do you call it? What I'm talking about, at the supermarket, at a convenience store. Yeah. Now anybody can get it. And I think that's just going to increase access for everyone. Right now, when I prescribe any form of a narcotic to a patient, I get an option to give them naloxone with the narcotic. So this is one of those things where it's like anyone who's using any type of opioid pain medication, we're not even talking about fentanyl and heroin, we're talking about people who are using even prescription opioids, really should have this on hand in the case of an accidental and certainly an intentional overdose.
But as happens so often in this country, Dr. Natalie, right, when you talk about drugs, you have to talk about money and cost as well, because it's not clear, it's not a given that insurance is going to cover the cost of this. So then there's questions about access.
Right, and that's the thing, right? So over-the-counter medications generally are not covered by insurance because they're not prescriptions, so you don't submit that to your insurance company. A pack of 2 of these nasal sprays will run about $50. That's pretty darn expensive. And some folks who have overdosed on an opioid require more than 1 dose of the Narcan. So that's going to be an issue. I mean, cost is always, right, in a situation like this. The other thing, Hallie, that the FDA is looking at is how easily interpretable the directions are. There's 5 different steps to this. The drug maker did do a study and said, look, 90% of people were able to administer this to a mannequin, but it wasn't an emergency situation. So the FDA really wants to streamline that too, so that really anyone off the street, even with very little literacy, is able to administer this to someone who they suspect or know has overdosed.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.